Welcome everyone to our YouTube series, Test Prep Made Easy. So in this particular series, we are going to post regularly questions on our YouTube channel. The questions may pertain to CAT preparation, maybe pertaining to GMAT preparation, as well as of various topics which are tested in these particular exams. For example, quants, LRDI, English, and various areas which are tested. And each day we will handle certain number of questions and their video solutions. The best approach is to these questions in these videos. So have a happy preparation ahead and enjoy the video. Thank you.
All right, so these are the questions that we are going to try in today's video. If you have tried it already from the thumbnail, good enough. If you haven't, you can pause the video at this point and try it once before you look into the solutions. We recommend you doing that. But if you just want to enjoy the solution, that's also good enough. And go ahead and watch the solutions now. Right, this is a very simple question because when it says to find the roots, um, and the equation itself, the quadratic equation itself is having coefficients which has variables in it. So you'll always have options to it, right? So the smartest way to do it is either using sum of root and product of root. I'll be using product of root in this case because in each of the options I'm finding one of the options to be one. So if one of the one of the root is one, I mean the question itself is telling me it's easy to find the product of the two roots, right? So product of the roots from the equation, you can see it is c by a. So that is m divided by this entire thing. So that will be 2m by l minus m. So this is satisfying the criteria. This is not this, this is not this, and this is not this. So that's it for this particular problem. I hope this was easy enough for you to solve as well. A really nice question out here. Few things. I mean, look at the requirement. Okay, there's a certain function. It's defined for us. But always in these kind of problems, look at the requirement, whatever is needed to be found. Because if you look at the requirement, that itself might give you some clues. For example, here if you check this f0, f1, and even this f half can be easily found. Because if you substitute x equal to 0, you can definitely figure out the answer. Putting x equal to 1, you can also definitely figure out the answer. Even putting x equal to half in this case, because 9 is a perfect square. So 9 to the power half is basically square root of 9, which is 3, right? So again, you can easily figure out the answer using that. So these three individually can be very easily figured out. So that is something you should be able to identify. But now this part might be looking a bit scary, isn't it? But if you properly look at it, and if you look at certain pairs in this case, so you will identify the pairs if you're looking at each of the inputs, otherwise you won't be able to do that. So look at this 1 by 3 and this 2 by 3. So this 1 by 3 and 2 by 3 are adding up to 1, right? Similarly, this 1 by 4 and this 3 by 4, these two are also adding up to 1. Similarly, this 1 by 5 and this 4 by 5, this is also adding up to 1, right? So there are a lot of these pairs which are adding up to 1. I mean, here also, coincidentally, that is the case. I mean, 0 and 1 are also adding up to 1. Now, let's try to understand what is the significance of that. So, for example, if I have f of 1 by 3 plus f of 2 by 3, try to figure out what will be the result of this, if possible, that is. So that is the striking part. So since each of these pairs, the inputs are adding up to 1, so just try to figure this out. So in order to do that, I need to first find out this f of 1 minus x. F of x is known to us. So what will be f of 1 minus x? Let's try to figure that out. So f of 1 minus x will be 9 to the power 1 minus x divided by 9 to the power 1 minus x plus 3, right? Now 9 to the power 1 minus x is nothing but 9 divided by 9 to the power x, right? Same thing in the denominator, 9 divided by 9 to the power x plus 3. Now, just multiply 9 to the power x in the numerator and denominator. So what you have is something like this: 9 divided by 9 plus 3 into 9 to the power x, right? Also, you can take a 3 common from these two terms. So what you get is a simplified form looking like this. So this is a simplified form of f of 1 minus x. So let us now substitute it here. So f of x is 9 to the power x divided by 9 to the power x plus 3. And this is 3 divided by, I mean, same thing, right? 9 to the power x plus 3. Now, taking this as the common LCM because that's anyhow equal. So what you have is same thing in the numerator, right? It will come out to be 9 to the power x plus 3. So this is basically 1. So these two will always add up to 1, irrespective of x, right? That is what we have now obtained. Let me take these things off. Now what you know is these two will add up to 1. These two will add up to 1. These two will add up to 1. And importantly, I mean, you can substitute x equal to 0 and x equal to 1, but you know that, I mean, if you put x equal to 0, then this thing is f1, right? So these two should also add up to 1. So what you have is 4 ones and this f of half. Now, f of half, again, you can figure it out. Or what you see is, see, if I put x equal to half, then this is also half, right? So what you now have is f of half plus f of half is 1, which is implying that f of half should be half. So this thing is half. So effectively what you have is 4 ones and a half. So that should add up to a total of 4.5. So our answer should be option 2, that is 4.5. So that's all I had to add related to this problem. Hopefully everything was understood. There are a lot of ways to actually solve this problem. I'll share the logical method first, and then I'll share another method, which is a little algebraical. If the logical one doesn't strike you, then how you should have approached this problem. So the logical method goes like this. So you have this 2 to the power x plus 4 to the power x. This has to be less than 6. So we are looking for the range of x for which this will satisfy, right? In these kind of cases, the first thing is observation. I mean, if you observe quickly, then that itself simplifies a lot of things. You should be able to identify that, I mean, 2 plus 4 is actually equal to 6, right? 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. So just by understanding that, if you put x equal to 1, this doesn't satisfy. So x equal to 1 does not satisfy this, right? When you know that x equal to 1 is like a limiting case, I mean, it is coming out to be equal to 6. So think above it and below it. That should be the approach. So if I take x equal to, I mean, anything greater than 1. So even if I take 1.5 or something, then this 2 to the power 1.5 will be definitely greater than 2. 4 to the power 1.5 will also be greater than 4. So both will be greater than, I mean, the sum of these two will be greater than 6, right? So greater than 1, that is x greater than 1, is definitely not satisfying, right? Now, here I would ask you to be a little careful. In this question, you might not make a mistake if you have approached it in this way, but you should do this, what I'm going to say next. So when I'm taking x is less than 1, I'm going to take it in two parts. One part being x is lying between 0 and 1. You can include 0 also. And the other is x is less than 0. That is a negative 1. You can test the negative 1 in this case first. That is actually very, very easy because whatever negative you substitute here, so if you substitute, let's say 2 to the power minus 1 and 4 to the power minus 1, this is 1 by 2 and 1 by 4. Both are less than 1. Of course, that is less than 6, right? Yes, if I take something like a fractional negative, for example, if I take 2 to the power minus half and 4 to the power minus half, I mean, this thing is 1 by root 4, that is half, and this thing is 1 by root 2. Okay, both are not less than half, but neither of the cases you can have, I mean, each of these would be individually less than 1 for sure, right? Whatever negative power you consider, because you're getting 1 by 2 power something and 1 by 4 power something. So you're definitely going to get something which is fractional. So if individually they are less than 1, then the sum has to be less than 2. If the sum is less than 2, that's definitely less than 6. And I hope I don't have to explain for x equal to minus 1, minus 2 and stuff like that. That's even lower than 1, the total, that is. So for negative numbers, I mean, this is definitely satisfying. And for fractional ones, so that is, I mean, x in the range of 0 to 1. So this is satisfying. And if you look at this, Even in this case, I mean, this root 2, root 4, or let's say cube root of 2, cube root of 4, individually they will be less than 2, less than 4, right? Root 2 is less than 2, root 4 is less than 4, cube root of 2 is less than 2, cube root of 4 is less than 4. So individually, if they're less than 2 and 4, then the total has to be less than 6, right? So this is also satisfying. So logically, you should be able to actually do this very, very fast. I had to explain this with examples, so it was taking a bit of time, but this is very fast to understand. So if you identify that 2 plus 4 is coming out to be 6, then itself you should be able to understand that going greater than 1, you are getting something more than 6, and going less than 1, even for fractional positives or negatives, you are going to get less than 6. So basically anything below 1 is acceptable. And that is this first option, right? Minus infinity to 1, obviously both excluded. Infinity are always excluded. 1 should also be excluded because, as we discussed earlier, x equal to 1 is not acceptable. So this is the first method. I'll quickly go into the second method. I'll take everything off now. So for the second method, you can definitely do this algebraically as well. For that, you need to understand that 4 to the power x is always a square of 2 to the power x, x being whatever, because 4 to the power x is something like 2 square whole to the power x. And by the way, these are some basic understanding of indices, because here the power get multiplied. So what we can do is we can always interchange these two. I mean, something like a to the power b whole to the power c is always same as a to the power c whole to the power b. This bc interchanged. This can always happen until unless, I mean, these are negatives and all. So in those cases, you have to be a little careful. I mean, not even negatives, I mean, imaginary number. So in the scope of CAD, that will never be a problem. So yeah, as I was saying, so this will always be a square of 2 to the power x. So what we can do is we can consider 2 to the power x to be something. So this comes out to be a. This comes out to be a square, and then you have less than 6. Let me just take that off. Sorry. Yeah, so less than 6, so that is minus 6 less than 0. So now you can solve this as a polynomial inequality, right? So you have this a plus 3 into a minus 2 less than 0. The critical points are minus 3 and plus 2. So this is less than 0. So this is the range that we are interested in. So a should be lying between minus 3 and 2. So what it implies is this 2 to the power x should lie between minus 3 and 2. Now the interesting thing about this is irrelevant, because any power of 2 will always be positive. I mean, it can never be negative for x being any real number. So we are just concerned about this part, 2 to the power x less than 2. And 2 to the power x is less than 2 for everything x less than 1. So x being less than 1, anything. I mean, if you take negatives or negative fractions, as we discussed in the first method as well, you'll find that 2 to the power x is always less than 2. So that's the entire solution. I just wanted to discuss the two methods for this. Obviously the observational one will be much faster than this. Here at least you have to reach this point to figure it out. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add to this question. I hope everything was understood. This is a brilliant observation based question. The only observation you have to make is in the requirement. So for example, in this particular summation that is required to be found, you can see that the powers are increasing by 6 every time, right? And I'll mention something important here. You'll understand why that is relevant after a while. But if the powers are increasing by 6 and this sort of expression is given, always try to find x cube plus 1 by x cube. After a while, you'll understand the reason behind that. But let us try to first figure this out, and you'll automatically understand why. Now, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a plus b whole cube sum, just expansion idea. And by the way, in these kind of surd related problem, when this irrational number is given, I have mentioned this in our classes also. Always use this form, a cube plus b cube plus 3ab into a plus b. This is more commonly used for rationalizing these kind of identities. So we have x plus 1 by x as sorry, minus root 3. And this is our target. This is what I want to find. So just cube this. So x cube plus 1 by x cube plus 3 into AB. So x into 1 by x, that is nothing, right? I mean 1, but multiplied is nothing, into x plus 1 by x. So this is what we have. And that is coming out to be cube of this. And by the way, for those who are not very comfortable with cubing of these kind of things, it's simply square of this into the number itself. So square of this is 3 into minus root 3. So that is like minus 3 root 3. So this is what we have. And now the advantage, the reason I was telling to use this thing is again this minus root 3, right? So what you get is something like this, x cube plus 1 by x cube plus 3 into this, which is minus 3 root 3, is equal to minus 3 root 3. So now check this out, x cube plus 1 by x cube comes out to be, 0. So this is what we have, right? Now, the advantage that you have now, because this entire thing is 0, but please understand that x cannot be 0. That is something which should be natural, right? I mean, if x is 0, how do you get this? That is not even possible. So if x is not 0, we can multiply x cube on both the sides. So what we get is something like this, x to the power 6 plus 1 is equal to 0, implying x to the power 6 is equal to minus 1. Now check this out, we get this x to the power 6, the thing I was earlier talking about. For example, x to the power 42 here is x to the power 6 whole to the power 7, right? And since x to the power 6 is minus 1, this is minus 1 raised to 7, which is minus 1. Similarly, x to the power 48 will be x to the power 6 whole to the power 8. So minus 1 raised to even power, so that is plus 1. So this will become like this, right? Minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1 plus 1, which actually cancels out everything, and the result is 0. But I mean that is because there are even number of terms here. Had this stopped at x to the power 66, the result would have been minus 1. So I hope you get the point now. Why try to get the x cube plus 1 by x cube? Because once you get that, multiplying it here, it gives us x to the power 6, right? So that's it for this problem. That is all I want to add to this particular problem. Hopefully everything was understood. Thank you.
Hopefully you liked the solutions we provided for these questions. And if you did like it, do not forget to like the video and share, subscribe, and comment. Do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. In that case, you'll get notification as soon as we upload a new video. And if you want to check a bouquet of courses that we provide, so we have a huge variant of courses from customizability to full preparation. You can check our website, www.mathoratory.com. I'll leave the link in the description below. And have an enjoyable preparation ahead. Welcome to the Math Oratory family and have a good exam ahead.